Welcome to 5 Star Weekly. Alexey Miranchuk has arrived. What can we expect? We're getting all that and more coming up. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to the show, 5 Star fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. And Atlanta United again are in an off week. We have the LA Galaxy match coming up over the weekend, but yes, plenty of news to go over. But before we do, we must give some major shouts out to our loyal Patreon fam, and specifically Gavin, Jordan, Niall, Andrew, and Chris. You guys are legends. But yes, so let's get into the news. And first bit of news is that Atlanta United selected the U22 model for the rest of the MLS season. Teams around MLS had the choice of either 3 senior DPs or 4 U22 DPs. And basically that would make it to where you only have 2 DPs. And so we chose the 4 DP, the 4 U22 slots. Still DPs a little bit. That's
the Miami system that you're talking.
I know, right? Exactly, 4 DPs, or the LAFC version. But yeah, if you're talking about Antoine Griezmann showing up there. But yeah, so essentially we chose the 2 DP, 4 U22 slots, and 1 million in GAM, and a whole lot of overthinking probably for a lot of the front office probably. But yeah, I mean, the GAM probably is super useful, and that's probably why we chose it that way, especially when we seemingly couldn't really find that third DP to really, kind of solidify the window. We, of course, covered it last week where, the strikers that we wanted, just it didn't seem like it was the move. So Shamarov was not the guy. And, whether we actually use 2 or 4 U22 spots is going to be interesting. I mean, do you anticipate maybe if, one of maybe Franco Ibarra or Santiago Sosa, if they ball out, maybe it's we keep one of them and then, figure that out. Like, what do you think is the thinking behind all of this?
I'm just see if I can assemble my thoughts correctly about this, but there's a method to this madness. Obviously, everyone wanted to see 3 DPs because that's the direction that was indicated that we'd be going in. However, I think that with the way things played out, I don't think that was the smarter move at this time. I think next year, because you have to restate this at the beginning of your season, so when they do it for next year, they will be probably picking the 3 DP model because that's in line for where they want to go. Ultimately, with that, they're going to want to have the 3 full DPs. Ultimately, right now, they know that they're not going to be able to get that. They weren't able to. It didn't line up. They couldn't get the right guys that they were targeting, and they don't want to rush it. So they are holding off. And if you're going to hold off, you might as well make a little money on the side by getting that $1 million of GAM and then, playing with your 4 U22 slots. So, will Ibarra or Sosa come back? I have no idea. If they ball out, then why not sell them? But, if they are good enough and if it meshes with kind of what the next coach is planning on doing, then I wouldn't feel, it would not begrudge me at all if we gave them a shot. There's a lot of, bad blood with Ibarra, so I would be surprised with him. But with Sosa, it's a possibility. I believe I've been hearing he's been doing all right where he's at. I mean, it's kind of a trend for, it seems like a lot of Atlanta United players are doing pretty good after they leave the club. So, they're loaned out, but you know what I mean.
Right. But in the Brasileiro as well, in Brazil, you see Alan Franco, you see...
There's a lot of guys in Brazil now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Thiago Almada. So, yeah, I mean, there is that. Yeah, I mean, and so it's like maybe there is some roster mechanism that you can take advantage of right before the season ends fully in, I guess, the calendar year rather, in 2024, where, yeah, if you have 4 DPs, well, then you don't necessarily have to get rid of some players immediately. You can have a little bit of flexibility before you do make that, DP, that third DP spot official, maybe in January. So, some accounting things probably that, we could possibly take advantage of. Also, there are doubts that I have about the actual the cleverness of them actually choosing this. So we'll see, because we've seen that the front office hasn't been so clever, and we have been hamstrung by pretty poor decisions where, we give way too much money to players that are not deserving of those wages, nor those transfer fees. But so, we will see. But next bit of news is that Alexey Miranchuk, he has received his visa and he has arrived in training. He will wear number 59. And yes, the supporters groups were at the training grounds this week, and he, on his first day, got to pretty much warm up, train, and say hi to the fans. And yeah, it seemed like that's a pretty good kind of, I think, welcoming parade, for a new player. Probably one of the more unique, first days for a player, for the very first day on the training grounds. So definitely good to see that. And he was able to speak with the media. We will get to that. But there was the end of the transfer window by Bocanegra, where he kind of gave a little bit of, the, I guess, reasoning for why he did or didn't do some of the stuff. And I realize now I probably should have kept the Miranchuk news for just a little bit later after these things. But you know what? We're doing this live, so it's all good. Live as you can be on a podcast, but yes. Anyway, so Bocanegra, he spoke with the press, and he said that, as far as, being asked, okay, if not having a manager was the reason for the club not moving forward with the signing, he said that wasn't the case. Bocanegra was also asked if, what he meant by finding a player that wasn't the right fit. He said, I want to be 100% clear. This had zero to do with a financial impact or financial situation. Ultimately, we want to be stewards of the club and do what's right for our team. When a player's not the right fit, we have to pause or not make that decision to move forward. And then on adding a striker, he said, he felt like there wasn't a right fit. Didn't want to force anything that would lock the club in for a long time. And, quote, when you don't get a right feeling, you don't want to force it through, quote unquote. Nothing to do with the player being too expensive, though. And, I mean, yes, we'll get to maybe dissecting this, but, that just right off the bat, I'm like, I have some thoughts there. But anyway, but Atlanta United did acquire an international slot, and that was post haste of the actual transfer window ending. And so, there is a possibility that a free agent could be brought in, but apparently, according to Felipe Cardenas, he pontificated that it would appear that they weren't pursuing any big name free agents, Anthony Martial, Memphis Depay. It is just definitely as far as a kind of a thing here where, as well, Bocanegra, he mentioned about Miguel Almiron and the interest that Miguel Almiron had with Charlotte. Apparently, Almiron's agent had a conversation with Bocanegra, and they spoke about him. Definitely interesting, very, very interesting that that was the case, and they said no essentially. And also Tom Boger did mention about the Almiron transfer fee that it ultimately wasn't 27 million. It was closer to 20 million, and it was initially a 19 million initial fee with add-ons and a sell-on clause. So lots to unpack there. Which part do you want to tackle first? For me, I feel like it's the striker, but
for me, it's recency bias, so I'll just go with Almiron.
Sure.
That is jersey right there. He's like we talked about how I'm just happy he's not coming to MLS for like a regional rival and just scorch us. That would be the darkest of timelines, of course. So that's a great bullet that we dodged there. And I don't know what their conversation was like between the agent and Bocanegra, but I mean, obviously, if you have another team, talking to this type of player that came from us, you'd have to expect that we would also be on the phone to at least figure out what's going on here. It's just like almost as like they're coming in and stepping on our toes. So at least we had a little bit of a hand in things. We weren't just like blindsided. All of a sudden, Miggy shows up in a Charlotte jersey and just whoops our butts. Like that would be. Yeah. It's like, and then a lot of people I saw on social media, it's like Charlotte is engaging Miggy, pick up the phone, front office. Like a lot of people were saying that, and I can see why, that they're like, you have to at least be talking, and so at least it seems like they were. So either way, it didn't materialize, so that's good for us.
Skin of the teeth, I feel like, with that. I mean, because okay, if Boca said no, I mean, I have to know why, because if it is someone that, it's like, okay, you wonder where maybe he plays or whatnot, but man, you have a pretty fluid front four at that point, and essentially Saba playing on the left possibly, and then Miggy on the right. Maybe it's not utilizing everybody in their best spaces, but I feel like there's, like I mentioned, fluidity that we could make that happen, and especially negotiating with Darren Eales. I think it should be fairly easy, or easier. I mean, I would hope that Bocanegra has Eales on speed dial, but the agents, obviously they've spoken before, so it's like, it really is perplexing, and it really took, basically, it seemed like something in the last hour, kind of saying, okay, no, it's not going to happen to Charlotte for Miggy. So definitely concerning. But you're going to touch on another topic.
The money part too. Like, I don't really care that much. I mean, we submitted it as being the league leading transfer record, and as long as MLS is cool with that and they just hold it as that, I don't care. If that's kind of on them to do their due diligence. We are a franchise of the league. They should know whether or not, like, what the transfer number was, and if they want to represent it as 27 or whatever the heck it was, and it was more like 19 plus to 20 with add-ons and things like that. Like, I don't really care because like we have like the top we have like 3 in the top 5 in terms of transfers in MLS. So like it's not gonna hurt me if like we move down a notch or something like that. We're clearly a top team when it comes to that. So I don't really care. That's kind of not a big deal for me.
Right. No, I agree fully. Let's get to the striker talk, where basically he said when you get it, when you don't get a right feeling, you don't want to force it through. I think you were definitely pontificating that maybe we should bring in a loan for a player, and that didn't materialize, and just to have somebody that can at least kind of fill the gap. this team needs goals. Like, we need some really good ball striking in front of goal. We need to be clinical, and we haven't been that all season. And I'm not sure that we like, yes, we found a creator, so we have more chances, but again, who's going to finish these chances? I mean, Rios has been pretty decent in a pretty good run of form, but how long can he keep it up? We have no idea. Like, he's kind of hopped around team from team for a reason, and so you do have those issues. And then Tiare as well, kind of an unknown quantity fully. So yeah, I feel like at the very least, yes, a short-term type of player to bring in, even if I think is still something that can be done, and you don't have to be tied down for entire year. You can do an option. If they perform, great. Bring in another attacker essentially. But what's your thought about saying not the right fit, not the right time, maybe revisit it?
Yeah. If the Uzbekistani guy wasn't the right fit, I heard that. I don't know how much credence I give this, but it's I've heard that he wanted, like, in a permanent move, he didn't want to do a loan, and obviously we're not. That kind of would be in line with what Boca said. We don't want someone like that to be our number 9 for a long period of time. We were looking for short term because eventually we'd want to get a number 9 that's going to be here for a long time and who's right in his prime and everything like that. So I think that was the right decision. I wouldn't want to get bogged down by someone who doesn't fit perfectly over a long period of time. So that's ultimately, I think, was the right decision there. What bothers me and was a bit of a head scratcher is why we couldn't find someone who'd be willing to do the loan for either like a half a season or something like that. That's strange to me. I don't really. And like, if we were just going after the Uzbekistani guy, and we put all of our eggs in the basket where we're trying to get this deal over the finish line, then he just kind of backed out, or he kind of was like, listen, you need to this needs to be a permanent transfer, and we were like, nah. Like, how did that take so long, and that it took up so much of your bandwidth that you weren't able to engage any other potential candidates for a loan? This is like, like I said, you put all your eggs in this one basket, and then all of a sudden he says no, close to the deadline, and then all of a sudden you're shit out of luck because you don't have enough time to go and inquire for someone else. So that seems weird to me. Maybe the front office, their scouting, their contract negotiation team is just spread too thin, because I guess they can only work on one guy at a time. But yeah, it just seems unfortunate that if that's what happened, we should be able to be talking to multiple candidates and trying to get multiple deals kind of close to the finish line, and then kind of be able to pick where, which guy we want to go with, instead of being at the mercy of this, random striker. It just, we might be, kind of shut out of any kind of playoff, either contention or doing well in the playoffs because of it. And that would be a pretty glaring error to me on the front office. But I mean, again, if it's that they're short-handed, like they literally just they can't really spread their forces out like that, and they have to kind of just pick with one and hope it works. Like, if that's the case, then okay. But I mean, we talk about being a big club with a lot of money, and it's like, well, we tried with this one guy, it took us this long to do it, and then at the very end he said no, and now we're shit out of luck. I'm like, that doesn't seem like good business. But then again, I'm not a front office manager, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't seem like that was the case, in the sense that there was, of course, the, at least according to Luca Bendoni, that, yeah, Atlanta United had been in negotiations with Rangers over a $6 million deal for their striker, Cyriel Dessers. And apparently the agreement between the clubs was close, but the move wasn't agreed on the player side. And who knows if they ran out of time, or they just, the player just said flat out no. But definitely a good player. I mean, in the Scottish Premiership, had 16 goals, 4 assists in the 2023 season, or the 2022-2023 season, or 2023-2024 season. But either way, seems like a good player. Really strong finisher. Definitely a player that's also, I think, has good passing strengths as well. And can involve his teammates. Maybe not the best presser, maybe not the best type of kind of off the ball player, but it seems like, yes, of the 15 players that apparently they were speaking with, none of them materialized. But this is the crux of it. Like, okay, if you were speaking with 15 players, I think Michael's point still stands that you couldn't get one player over the line. And especially when your club ethos that you set out before the transfer window even started was that, yes, we were still trying to go for winning and getting into the playoffs and, kind of making a mark in not only the Leagues Cup, but, trying to make our mark for the rest of the season. And you guys only made one move and, it addressed one bit, one outgoing.
It's incomplete.
Yeah, but it didn't address the main crux of this season, which was we have not put the ball in the back of the net as much as we should. And, it's with a lot of the season ticket holders, there's been a good bit of fall off, it seems like. And, I think for me, the reasons why that they should at least have made both of the moves on the kind of healthy, healthy book wise for their, profits and all that. Like, yeah, you probably want to keep as many season ticket holders as much as possible, and not have, as well, maybe the people that are a little bit more casual and, not your most fervent fans inside the stadium, inside the supporters section. I think this is very important to have done, and you didn't do it.
I mean, what it seems to me is like, getting back to my point, it's just that it seems that they're, plan A didn't work out, plan B didn't work out, plan C didn't work out. Like, all of your contingency plans didn't really work out for striker during this window. And that worries me when even the contingency plans fail. Like, again, my point is, it just doesn't seem like good business. Now, obviously, sometimes things happen outside of your control, but that's hopefully why you have contingency plans, but it just nothing ever really came of it. I mean, I guess the contingency plan is Rios and Jamal. So I guess there's that. Right.
But I think it's this. It's like, maybe it does scream out that the optics don't look that good. Because, yes, Boca can say, oh, yeah, it's not because, we don't have a coach. It's not because of money or any of that. It's like, yeah, let's look at the facts here. Everybody knows how much are in our coffers. We have nearly about, we spent, almost maybe 15 for Miranchuk. And, yeah, we still have essentially 35 to play with for, another player. So they know we have the money. And then you have the other bit is that, yeah, we don't have a coach. So, yes, any player coming in, I mean, Miranchuk, he maybe saw the money. Who knows? We'll get to that. But, maybe the other players, they want to see a promising project. And, we'll speak with maybe something else that is in the news too. That maybe people see a sinking ship a little bit. Like, where's the excitement? Like, they can see the temperature of what the fans are saying. What it doesn't take much for a prospective player to just look at the comment section for the social media for the club that they might join, and just see what's going on, and or an agent or whichever, and it's like, okay, what's that like right now? Oh no. Like, that's probably part of it. And yes, that's born out of their decision making in the front office and the club decision making. So absolutely, it's the bed that they've made. And if you can't attract a player in a transfer window in the summer where you have the plethora of choice, then I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I think I've pretty much said everything above. So.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at everywhere, it seems. I mean, we got people in the Turkish league, like, he's looking at players in Uzbekistan,
French second division,
Georgia,
Scottish league, yeah,
like, and we're having trouble there. Like, that seems strange. That seems unfortunate for us.
Seems hella sus, but so one of the major things, and we'll get to Miranchuk very soon, but one of the things that came out this week, Dax McCarty announced his retirement, and he said, quote, "It's been a hell of a ride, but it will be over soon. Thank you doesn't even begin to do justice to all the people in my life who have helped me live my dream. My cup is full." But yes, he will retire at the end of the 2024 season. Very, very just storied MLS career. And unfortunately, we couldn't get him his MLS Cup that he was probably trying to come here for. And, it's like kind of technically maybe 2/3 of the way in the season. But, he saw the writing on the wall of, his wife was saying, maybe it's just an anecdote and maybe it's just like, kind of, fun to tell possibly in a way. But he mentioned that his wife called him out. Maybe he's getting a little bit of love handles. But, it's like, bruh, like, I don't blame you if, it's like you're feeling, okay, do I want to be part of another rebuild? Like, it's probably not that. So he's probably like, okay, well, this is probably the last ride, the last dance.
Yeah. And, this is his train stop to get off. That's an Atlanta train joke right there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of these things. It's like, I mean, wish him the very best. It seems like from a talking standpoint in his podcast, it seems like he's got a future, in a lot of different aspects in the sport anyway, whether it's a coach or maybe as a broadcaster. So
I hope he gets picked up as a broadcaster.
Yeah, and because he seems to be able to talk about it very intelligibly and tell some anecdotes and really just be engaging. And so I applaud it. I like it. But definitely, hopefully he can just go out with kind of an upswing at the very least with us, because he has been, it's seeming like a model veteran and a player that's really trying to help Atlanta United. But let's get into Miranchuk and his press conference, the first press conference of his Atlanta United career. And he started off with, he was asked why he came here. And he said, "Because I love hip-hop," and just gave that pause. And he said, "I'm kidding, I'm joking. But to be honest, the league's growing. A lot of players, quality players, great players playing here, many more coming. So I played for 4 years in Europe. I achieved everything that I want. And when this opportunity comes to me, when I get to touch Carlos in Atlanta," it's being translated, so and also English isn't his first language, so phrasing. But it's the right time and the right place to be. We'll go through each one while we kind of react to each thing, I think. But love the hip hop stuff that he's saying here, and he does say like who his favorite rappers are: Future, Lil Baby, Gunna, Young Thug, Offset. So definitely he knows Atlanta hip hop. So love that. Hopefully he knows a little bit of Outkast as well, because that's the history. That's the that's the pedigree. That's where
you
the
might
South
hear
has
it in
got.
the stadium too.
Exactly, and that's where the South's got something to say. But however you feel about those hip hop artists, I think the interesting bit is that he said he played 4 years in Europe and he achieved everything that he wanted to. I mean, yeah, he won the Europa League, but I mean, it's I wouldn't say he necessarily is like Did he really win everything that he wanted to? Did he do everything that he really wanted to in Europe? Like, I mean, is he coming here for a bag? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's coming here for a bag. He probably found that that's his level, is being basically a super sub for a Europa team champion, which is not bad, is very good. But to say that that's like the crowning achievement that you can achieve in Europe is obviously not true. There's far better things you can do in Europe. So, whether he didn't want to transfer to another team, like let's say in the Prem or La Liga or something like that, and then compete in the Champions League. He clearly, that wasn't in the cards for him, I guess, in his mind. So he went, either I stay at this level in Europe or I can get the bag in America. And that's, because in his mind, I guess he's not getting any higher there, so might as well get paid. So, I mean, I don't, fault him for that kind of calculus. Makes a lot of sense to me. And I just hope, he can, that level that he played out in Europe, that translates to dominating here in MLS. And I certainly hope so. And I'm looking forward to see him hopefully maybe do a little bit of that on Saturday.
Yeah, because it was said that he's one of the definitely in the top 10 of players that created the most chances in Europe. Obviously he was doing it in the Italian league. It's a top 5 league for sure in the world, and in Europa League, where maybe not as great of the competition. It's not the greatest competition in the land or anything, but still a very high level. But it seems like he realizes there's only so many chances that he can kind of utilize his talents to provide for his family, and he found reasons why he could come here and hopefully have a good time. And so hip hop being part of it, and there is a pretty decent standard of living in Georgia, I would say. So there is, some attracting factors that maybe, Boca was able to do, and with Lagerwey's help as well. So we'll see. But next bit was that he said, as his strengths as a player and his plan to impact this team, he said, I'm used to playing in the offensive, like number 10 or right wing. So obviously my position is to create the moments, key passes. So I'm about to show everything on the field. So that I think we know about. He plays a little bit more on the right side, number 10 as well. So Saba and him will probably be a little bit more fluid in interchange. And hopefully not take up too many of the same spaces and zones that we have seen to be a problem in the past with other players that we've had in the team. So hopefully that is not going to be the case. But he also talked about winning the Europa League and maybe the experience to impact this team and the club in general. He said, it was the best experience. It will stay in my memory for all of my career, my life, the mentality and the mindset, because we are the players. We, at the end of the day, all that counts is the trophy or what you leave on the field. So just to chase the trophy, playing playoffs, the cup, fighting for everything, that's what I wanted to represent. And, kind of boilerplate of what you would expect someone to say there. But, it is his first time in the U.S., apparently. And so he did always want to learn this culture and to, see other places. He thinks it's the right place. So he's saying the good things there so far. I think that let's come to the interesting bit, which is if he's watched some Atlanta United games and, what did you think of them? And he mentioned, I watched a few games since I got in touch with Carlos and with Atlanta. I started to discover a little. It's completely different. What I can see about possession and everything, I'm looking forward to know more about the league and the championship. And he also said, what I can see is straight from the TV. It's a lot of running back and forth. It's like straight football, not really about possession and everything. So, definitely very interesting because he's noticing that we're playing a lot of counterattack football, being very direct, not really trying to possess the ball right now, which is kind of what Valentino ball is at the moment, where we're not really prioritizing the possession because we realize, yes, when we try to play out from the back, or we are trying to just kind of bury teams in their final third, it really hasn't been that effective. We essentially get countered and pretty much smashed and grabbed to death. So I think he'll learn also maybe why we haven't been playing that way. But very, very interesting that he's noticed that about us, straight from the off. But what are your thoughts on what he said here?
I think that people and players, anyone in general who watches soccer can kind of tell what a dominant team in league is by the way that they play. When you have a team that is comfortable possessing and attacking, and what they're looking for in a player and in a squad is players that can break down low blocks, and then also players that can fluidly get the ball through the different sections of the field, through possession and linking up with their attack to finish it off. Like, I think that they see that in the higher level teams in leagues, and when Miranchuk looked at Atlanta, he probably went, "Oh, this is not a top team in this league. They are kind of more counterattacking, which is usually a team that's not on the front foot. They're more, they want to absorb. They don't have the technicians. They don't want the ball. They're more wanting to hope you guys make a mistake, versus them trying to build a big, beautiful, soccer plan that, ends up with them scoring a goal." So I think Miranchuk just went, okay, I clocked you guys as probably not being the bullies of this league, so I'm going to have to try and, because I come from a team that can potentially do that, versus, obviously they're not the top team necessarily in Italy, but they are a top team in Italy. And so he's like, I might have to be doing some running, kind of like when we talked to Yorgos when we got him here. And keep in mind, Yorgos and also Miranchuk were not kind of regular starters, so these guys, they're used to running at tired legs. When they come to Atlanta, when you're playing counterattacking, you're gonna have to be moving a lot. So I'm hoping Miranchuk is going to be able to get that motor under him, because we're used to a number 10 in Thiago that could run for days, an Energizer bunny. So I have a feeling Miranchuk is not going to be like that, and I just hope he's ready for it, because he just, when a player says, "Ooh, that's a lot of running in this league," that worries me a bit. So we'll see.
Indeed.
Hopefully he can get ready.
Yeah, no, he definitely strikes me as definitely more languid than Almada, and I mean, I feel him, man. Like, my dude, I completely agree. I hate running, so it's the same. But he is a professional football player, so he will need to run, and whether he is match fit, that is a concern. I don't know how match fit he will be and how many minutes match fit he can actually play. He will probably need a several amount of games to get a good number of just match fitness within him. So I have my doubts.
On top of that, an additional concern is that even if he gets as much match fitness as he can, is he going to be able to even at his 100%? Is he going to be able to keep? Because and as far as I understand, he hasn't really played like that. for at least 4 years or something like that, you know? So I don't even know if he's capable of being able to play at like a high clip like that. So it's a bit of a gamble when you go with a guy who is not reliant upon, you know, speed, agility. Well, he's got agility, but like not a lot of speed and physicality.
In a league that requires,
you're asking for him to do a lot of that. So, I mean, he might end up being like for at least a while, like kind of like a pylon that just kind of sits there and gets he can flush the ball to where it needs to go, but he's not going to be doing a lot of running.
Right. And, you know, from a standpoint where, you know, possibly we, you know, are trying to, you know, kind of get more into being a system team. That's what we're maybe trying to build. Well, is this the player that can actually get us to where we need to be, and, you know, where we're pressing from our forwards and, you know, doing a lot of running? That's what the modern game does require. And Miranchuk, there's obvious questions. And yeah, I think it's the matter of how many minutes in each game does he have in his legs. And yeah, so it's very real. But yeah, so
again, just to put a bow on, I mean, we Thiago Almada played 90 minutes of like every game, like forever.
Yeah.
Just to not have that in our quiver is, you know, that's going to be something we're going to have to kind of wrestle with. We might have to be, like potentially having a semi-regular backup 10 sometimes.
Right. And so, yeah, you know, obviously Firmino, and maybe, you know, from a more defensive standpoint, the other central midfielders, you know, will be spelling him a good bit in the run-in. But yeah, so, you know, last bit in that is he was asked, what personal goals while you're here? And he said, it's too soon to tell. And yeah, I mean, I think that just exemplifies, I mean, he realizes that maybe winning isn't necessarily at the forefront at the moment because of the very real possibilities are not that strong. But yeah, how do you read that?
Yeah, I mean, he notices we don't have a coach, we don't have a number 9. You know, we are missing some key pieces. To say he's coming in and like to be like, yeah, I'm here to win, we're gonna win. Obviously he sees the writing on the wall regarding that. It would be a little naive for him to say that, or maybe even like overestimating, and then people have been like, well, you said you were here to win and then you got blown out the remainder of the 2024 season or something like that. But I don't want obviously that to be the case. I think his words were fine, realistic even, and that's perfectly okay for where we are right now. I want a player who's able to recognize and clock where we are and what are we doing, because it means he has some kind of intelligence, and that's good, because yeah, things are not good. If he was like, everything's great and we're gonna go on to win the championship, it's like, oh, come on, obviously this is silly. But he says it's too early to tell, which is, like I said, he worded it well in that maybe ask him again in a year's time or whatever, maybe at the start of next season even. He might change his mind. He might say, you know what? With this team, with the way things are going, we absolutely can win. And that is my expectation now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely struck me as a person that has the social awareness, obviously with being able to joke from the off too, and, you know, talk about hip hop being the reason why he came here, and, you know, various kind of moments within, you know, his press conference that it seemed like, yeah, you know, he seemed like a quiet, confident type of person. And, you know, I think, at least with maybe this player anyway, you know, I think that's maybe what we need at the moment. We don't need that brash bravado when we're not quite at the moment where we're, you know, winning. Like, yeah, being brash when you're not winning seems a little silly. So, you know, it just is definitely something that I think it's good that he's not kind of acting that way from the off. But yeah,
I agree, but honestly, I would just prefer, and I've said this before, just prefer we brought in a player who is brash because they know that they're a world beater, you know. But
Well,
obviously we don't have that, so
No.
it is what it is. And this is something I'll take, you know, because I've said this. I want, you know, I don't just want, you know, Yorgos Sakamakis was this, Joseph Martinez was this. I don't just want one player to be able to come up to the microphone at every press conference before we're playing a team and go, we're going to crush the other team, you know? Like, I want, like, multiple players to be able to come up and speak with confidence, with swagger, to, you know, to instill a culture of winning and confidence in the team, and not just have it only be coming out of, you know, your striker or what have you, which has typically been the case. But, you know, with what it is right now, I'm okay because I know what kind of position we're in, what kind of team we're trying to be, and this is okay for now. But I mean, man, in the future, let's get a little bit more like Clint Dempsey's on our team, you know, that kind of personality.
Well, if you looked at the history of our number 10s, and let's make no bones about it, Miranchuk is a number 10 for us. I mean, you look at Miguel Almiron, Ezequiel Barco, Pity Martinez, I mean, and even Thiago Almada. Quiet confidence, but not exactly, you know, someone that's just pulling up trees with their quotes and, you know, kind of their bravado. So, you know, it is, I think, par for the course for Atlanta United. But
honestly, we should get Zonde on the mic more. I feel like he would be fun on press conferences more often.
He would be, but I feel like right now he needs to back it up, and that's always the disconnect.
That's the combination. That's what I want. The high-level player, the world beater, and also the brashness to instill. So, like, players are afraid to come here and play us. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, fully. But yeah, we must move on. So, alumni watch here. Caleb Wiley, he has started his first match for RC Strasbourg. He made his debut. And yeah, you know, definitely congrats to Wiley on, you know, that first start for RC Strasbourg. But, and as well, according to Tom Bogert, CF Montreal, their head coach, Laurent Courtois, he didn't hold back on Joseph Martinez, and he said, quote, "There's a big gap between the man and whom I had a discussion before his signing and the man now." And according to Bogart's sources, any issues that have been between them are now resolved, and Martinez is available for selection. But it definitely is interesting, you know, Joseph Martinez butting heads with another head coach. Man, it's seemingly looking like a pattern now. I count probably everyone, actually, because you know, he had walked out of you know, trainings with Tata Martino, and definitely did that with Gonzalo Pineda apparently as well. So, you know, it's one of these things where Jose Martinez, you know, he is who he is, and he is also, if anything, a man, and will seemingly he will apologize and, you know, kind of definitely do what needs to be done for the betterment of the team, because it looks like, yeah, Jose Martinez, at least from every moment in his career where it hasn't been perfect, but he absolutely is a competitor and wants to win, and that's probably was at the crux of it, if I'm guessing. But you know, definitely interesting that yeah, he butted heads with another head coach. But yeah, you have any thoughts on, you know, Jose Martinez? And
I'm just surprised that the guy is surprised. Like, it's Jose Martinez. He's butted head with every coach he's been with. Like, it's even when he's winning, he butts head sometimes. Like, that's just who he is. He's it's a byproduct of his competitiveness, like you said, and his high expectations for himself. And unfortunately, some of this might be displacement of his own anger on himself, and that, you know, he still sees himself as probably as like 2018-19 Joseph, and he just is not that anymore. And this is, you know, the point of his life where he's supposed to be, you know, around like his prime, and he's, unfortunately, it seems like he's already peaked. So it's that can be rough psychologically on a competitor like that. So, it's when things don't go his way and things aren't super pretty on the team he's on, he can lash out.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And yeah, hopefully things will get better for Joseph Martinez because, still a lot of love for that guy. Last bit of news. Atlanta United 2, they continued their 4-match unbeaten streak after a 1-1 draw against Inter Miami CF2. And Atlanta United took down Miami in the penalty shootout 4-3 to secure the extra point. Jaden Hibbert posted a club record 13 saves, while captain Javier Armas, he scored his 6th goal of the year. And the Twos will play at Fifth Third Bank Stadium against Orlando City B. And so, congrats to the Twos for their unbeaten run. That does it for the news. Gets us to the mailbag. You guys send in these questions through IG Story and Discord, and please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. We'll kind of breeze through these as it's a little shorter this week. But first question: greatest Josh Cohen fan. How much time should Miranchuk play since he's fully rested, or will his debut come in the Benz? What do you think?
If you want to have a chance of getting any points out of this game on the weekend, you're going to want to play him, but it's going to be a cameo, likely, because, it's not as if he's rested, but, he's not probably match fit. And also, he's only started recently training with the team. Can't imagine he's match fit that much, and you have to look out for injuries. You have to slow roll him into things. And again, it's just kind of what we talked about earlier in the episode about how we don't even know what this guy's capabilities are regarding being able to play 90 minutes with a high pressing team, with a counterattacking team, with a team that demands a lot of running. He might not even be that kind of guy. So I don't know. It's this is going to be a slow roll from us, I think, with him. So don't expect to see a lot of him quickly, I would imagine.
Right. I mean, and I think to kind of add to what you're saying, because I fully agree, except for, we're not a pressing team. We're not a team that really presses well. We're pretty poor at it, to be fair. And so, but we do try to press at times.
Yeah, I think that's my point. Is we try. We're bad at it, but at least we try.
Yeah, and I think it's the main bit is the physicality of this league, his match fitness, and yes, he pretty much has had the entire summer off. So he's got a lot to work back into to make sure that he is in playing shape. So I think his full debut will probably come a little later, and we'll see. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the preview. But next question comes from Atlanta United VIPs. Ethan says, has saying "we're back, baby" kept Garth up at night? What do you think?
Is that Ethan? I think
never mind. That's not Ethan.
VIPs is not Ethan. Yeah.
That's not Ethan.
Has saying "are we back yet" kept Garth? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would think. So the question is, does Garth think he may been able? Could he have said that maybe a little bit better? Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know how my guess is he's not really thinking about it that much and doesn't care. But there's a possibility he went maybe if I could do it over again, I wouldn't have said exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think if I were him, I probably wouldn't have, even tongue-in-cheek declared that we're back. When the transfer window hadn't even closed yet. It's yes, you got a very talented player, but his translation into this league, he will need betting time. He will need to be able to get, into match fitness. It is a question mark. It's a giant question mark, how he will actually perform in this league. He could be Pity Martinez. He could be Ezequiel Barco in his first year. He could be Thiago Almada. He could be Miguel Almiron. I mean, he could be his own player, yes, as well. But it's like, I just named a whole like flurry of, okay, how well do they bet in? Some of those players took some time. And,
I mean, PT Martinez is the biggest example for me. Like,
yep.
I mean, it's just, you know, at least we saw Miranchuk when he came in the airport with the pictures. He's with his partner, you know. So I remember PT didn't have his family with him for like much of the first season he was with us, and I remember it kind of was something. It was a bit of a you know, a negative aspect on his mindset. So, and it, you know, affected his gameplay. So, you know, hopefully, you know, he can adjust, and at least he has his wife with him, or his partner with him, so that's good.
Yeah, it's something that I feel like is often overlooked, but very important. Is the family and personal life is super important to make sure that gets settled very quickly as well, because yes, everything can go right in training and in games, but if you go home and you just, you know, you seem a little just existential, despondent, and maybe not knowing where your personal life is going, well, yeah, you could do well, you know, percentages of the time in your life, but, you know, I think most people are trying to balance everything, and that is super important, you know, making sure that you feel fulfilled in every aspect as much as possible, right? So, but, yeah, next question, and maybe last question. Yeah, I mean, it's a big question. Carranza25_. What do you think we need in order to be successful again?
I don't think there's one answer to that. I think there can be multiple answers. So with that in mind, I could just pick one thing that would be nice to see is, you know, if when we get a number 9, a big signing, hopefully, this guy, like we talked about earlier, has, you know, the Joseph and Yorgos swagger. Like, this guy is gonna have pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, Jose Martinez was a legend. Obviously, probably no one will fill those shoes ever. And Yorgos did a halfway decent job trying to do so, and was able to command quite a presence in his introductory press conference. And then was able to kind of keep that going for a good amount of time while he was here, instilling confidence, getting the fans hyped up for matches, being like, we're gonna, you know, really do a number on this team that we're going up against this week. Like, hearing about that stuff was exciting. So hopefully we can get a guy in the number 9 that can really lead the way with that, because I really feel like Atlanta has been typified as that type of team that has that type of player. You know, Taylor Twellman likes to say, like, Atlanta wants to be like the villains of MLS, right? Because we have those types of players. So, you know, why not go back to it? It feels right to have a player like that. So to me, I feel like that's a key ingredient to, as Garth might say, claim, you know, allow us to claim we're back.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, you know, I echo a lot of those sentiments, but it is, yeah, it's very nuanced, and obviously way higher pay grade than what we can do here.
Yeah, but just pick your favorite like I did.
Right, exactly. But yeah, you know, I think the aspects of it is, okay, it comes from the top, that you really need to nail, I mean, just the majority of your signings, you know, not only as players, but, you know, front office hires, you know, analytics, you know, all sorts of, in the video department, in the medical department as well, and the, you know, training aspects. I mean, like, essentially, Arthur Blank, he's not afraid to spend money. So we should have the ability to bring the best here. And so, really, I think it's been a massive failure that we haven't been able to do that. And in the fact that we've actually downsized. We've actually let a lot of the great minds go from the early years, and we haven't replaced them. We've gotten actually like more startup, which is bizarre to me. When, we started off essentially, in a very just behemoth type of way where we were robust in, a lot of different facets of our creation, of our marketing, of, just how we were recruiting. I mean, yeah, at the crux of it, it's that, but, I think it really absolutely starts with recruiting well in every aspect. And we haven't been doing that. That much is super duper clear. So,
yeah. I mean, the next, like with the number 9 and the coach hiring, if they don't nail those two, the
front office. Yeah, exactly. Like basically, it's on them, and basically, heads will have to roll. Like if those are not nailed, there's no more grace. But, yep. That does it for the mailbag. It gets us to the match preview, and it is a 10:30 p.m. Saturday night game against LA Galaxy. And, LA Galaxy, no slouch whatsoever. First in the Western Conference. They last played in the league to a 3-2 win against Portland. They unfortunately lost, or whatever. they lost in the Leagues Cup. They were not part of the Final Four, but in the semifinals rather. But we have been, in terms of against them, not too bad, but it is kind of a very interesting kind of team that we're playing against because yes, they just added Marco Reus, and yes, he. Is as far as Borussia Dortmund, a legend there. He's 35 years old. Kind of a central attacking midfielder, left winger. But yeah, decorated career there. 12 seasons there, 301 goal contributions in 429 career appearances across all competitions, and yeah, just one of the more well-known names in the game, but also well-known for being oft injured as well. And so, whether he can also, play from the off, or maybe he'll have to do a little bit of a Miranchuk a little bit here, where he has to be bedded in a little bit. We shall see. But, I don't expect him to start, but I think, a cameo, kind of like Miranchuk maybe could. It is possible, but obviously they have lost Chicharito, Douglas Costa, Raheem Edwards, Tyler Boyd, but they have gained Joseph Paintsel, Gabriel Peck, Miki Yamane as well during this time. But just they've had a resurgence, and Greg Vanny, former Toronto FC coach. Who won their version of the treble there. He's got them doing a complete turnaround. And, yeah, they are a team that basically, even if they get scored on first, they can come back. They're a good comeback team. They score from long distance pretty well. So Braguzan has some danger to contend with. They are also aerially a pretty imposing team, from set pieces as well, pretty dangerous. But kind of, they don't really need the ball, and so it's one of these. There are some moments and some aspects that we can really, I think, hurt them, which is on the counterattack, which I'm not that great at, and. Yeah, maybe from some set pieces, if we can get our big guys in there, they do foul in some dangerous areas quite a good bit. So, definitely interesting. Definitely interesting seeing what they could do here. But, yeah, LA Galaxy, still, it's just a top side. And,
yeah, they're the top, they're the third highest positive goal differential at 14 in the Western Conference. So they're, they score a lot of goals and they don't let a lot in. So they're doing pretty good with that, and they're only 4 points behind Miami in the total, entire league performance. So
tight supporter shield.
Yeah, like that's incredible that they're able to surpass the likes of Columbus and Cincinnati, Philadelphia, LA. So like they're all the way up there. Just thinking about like Painsil, Peck, Ricky Puig, like they've definitely upgraded over what they had before. Acosta, Chicharito. I just think this team is way more dynamic, way more fluid, way more athletic. Like it's kind of scary, and it's also entertaining to watch. I've enjoyed some of the games that I've seen from LA Galaxy this year.
Right. I mean, it's just like Vanny. He's a quality coach, and I am upset that we didn't go for a coach like him when it seemingly looked like Toronto. It was just like they were falling out of love with each other, and I think we were in a moment where Pineda not really quite doing what we needed him to do. We have the opportunity to get a better coach. We didn't. And I think you see, there's quality here, and quality persists in this league.
And just one last thing about Galaxy is that it's kind of an optimistic tale, in that we can learn from, and to gain some optimism, is that they were a dumpster fire for a while, and then in the course of like a season, they were able to rebuild and turn it around, and now they're one of the best teams. So if that can happen, we can do it too.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't have to go and get an Olivier Giroud, a Lionel Messi,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, they did go get a Marco Reus, but but they were getting the success before he arrived. I mean, Ricky Puig is definitely it's a ex-Barca guy, like a very, very talented prospect, and they basically utilized him in the best way. So that's really where it is. But let's get into the predicted starting 11, and let's get through the lines together between the sticks. It's probably Goose. Do you see it differently? Yep.
No.
I think the real question for me is whether we are going to play with 4 men in the back or 5 men in the back. What do you think?
I think 4 in the back. I think we're gonna see. I mean, if it depends if Miranchuk starts, which he probably won't. But I feel like their ideal setup is gonna be like how Pineda ran it. And go back to that with the 10 running things in the middle, like Thiago did. I feel like that's what they're going to go back to. So maybe eyes towards that, they will adjust. But again, Miranchuk's not going to probably start. So
yeah, I think it's going to be 5 men at the back. I think we're going to go with Gregerson, Williams, and Cobb. Cobb is back, and so as far as any unhealthy players or players that can't play a part, we don't have anybody. Everyone's healthy, so at least to our knowledge, recording this on a Wednesday. So I mean, I think it's gonna be that, because our best spell so far on the road has been where we play more defensively, and especially with LA Galaxy having this many attacking options. I mean, I think it just behooves us to, really cover as much of the zones as we can to make sure that, we don't get caught out in the back. But so if it were 4 men in the back, who are the center backs for you?
Steen and I think Abram probably.
Not Williams.
No, not Williams. I don't know why, but I was thinking about it, and I feel like Abram would be out there. I don't know why.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No. Very interesting. I mean, he.
Wait, didn't Williams play for Galaxy at one point?
He did. Yes.
Huh. Well, that might be interesting if he gets to start.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it will definitely be interesting. Abram very well could start as well. Also, he has got a new do little blonde, frosted, completely blonde. But yeah, it's I think Cobb has played well in that kind of left center back role where he's able to follow the guys who are trying to cut in a little bit, and so there is that aspect. I feel like that he for me would be starting there, but we'll see what Valentino does. The wing backs or the fullbacks here, I think kind of pick themselves probably.
Yeah,
Lennon,
because
Amador.
Hernandez is injured.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Amador.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Hernandez is pretty close now, apparently. I would say, but yeah, probably still a little bit, unsure if he would, immediately come in. Amador, yeah, he is brought in for this, so I would imagine he would be getting the start. So, into midfield, what do you got?
Tristan and Sleesh, which is it Sleesh who also has the frosted tips?
He does. I know. Yeah, it was.
I guess they all had like a maybe like a text group, and they're all like, "All right, guys."
A dying party.
Yeah.
And so maybe they all use the same bleach. Who knows? But hopefully not. Hopefully they went to. I'm sure they went to somebody to get it done. But I think Schleich Muyamba as well. I think you probably will need your number 10 in there. Or maybe another central midfielder. Who do you got?
Yeah, if they want to go with this, it would probably be, I don't know, like maybe Firmino, and then you see Miranchuk come in later as a cameo just to give him match minutes. But it's possible he could fit in, in a different formation too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really been seeing that. Like Firmino hasn't been getting the starts, so it's probably usually been McCarty or Fortune, kind of more defensively. So I mean, my money is on that. But if it's Firmino, maybe we're trying to, score a goal and then maybe set up shop. Who knows? But I think we will definitely need to do that probably. But onto the wings. I think it's Saba and Silva. I mean, that's probably the given at this point. And for me, it's Rios up top. I mean, do you have TRA or do you have Rios?
If Rios is healthy, then yeah, because they said he could possibly be ready for Saturday. They didn't say definitely would be ready.
Right. And so there is that aspect, whether he actually fully is or isn't, we'll find out. But I feel like kind of stitching the team together a little bit, Rios has been more of the connector, more of the kind of the target forward that brings others into the game. So I feel like we really will need that. We don't want to be... Yeah, and he's been scoring. Like, we don't really want to be fully dominated on the road where, we just have no possession whatsoever. And, we will need some sort of outlet to be able to make that happen. So, I think it's that. So, to recap, Michael had Goose, Lennon, Amador, Gregerson, and Abram. And then Schleich, Muyamba, and Firmino, Saba, Silva, and Rios. I had Goose, Lennon, Gregerson, Williams, Cobb, Amador, Schleich, Muyamba, Saba, Silva, and Rios. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. But that gets us to the score prediction. What do you think? What's it going to be?
I think 2-0. I have a hard time thinking we score, and I have a hard time thinking we keep them, keep a clean sheet. I just think this is not going to go well.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think we do nick a goal, but I think it's a 3-1 win for LA Galaxy.
Oh, wow, 3. Okay.
I know. I hate to say this scoreline, but it is like this is grim. Like we're going 3 time zones west. And we're not great on the road, and then we're going against first in the West. against a team that's high flying and scoring in bunches.
Yeah, but have you seen the recent post on Reddit that we have only lost twice
Yes.
by multi-goals?
Yes.
So is this the third time?
Who pulled that and who pulled those stats? But either way, yes.
Yeah, I'm running by the grace of the Reddit gods that information is accurate and that guy did his homework.
Right. But I mean, just from the eye test and kind of memory, yes, we haven't been blown out a ton. There have been
the least amount in the entire league, according to that.
Right, and we've been incredibly, like I've mentioned, unlucky in front of goal. Maybe unlucky is maybe kind. Where yes, we have been anemic in front of goal when we shouldn't have been, and so yes, I think that has played a part in it. But there's so many factors. There's so many factors to why that could be the case, and either way, the crux of it is, yes, maybe we aren't getting completely blown out, but there are games that they are winnable. We're not putting the ball in the back of the net, and so that's the reality. And this could play out a lot closer, but right now I just don't see it. I think we're just going way too far. Kind of out of our comfort zone out here to Carson City. So
against a hot team.
Against a hot team. It's just, they bounced out of Leagues Cup, but they made a deep run, and they're going to be motivated. They're going to want to put things right, and good teams know how to bounce back very quickly. Mediocre teams don't really know how to do that, and unfortunately, we are the latter right now. So, yep, that is my grim score prediction. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. But, that is pretty much the episode there, except for the question of the day. The question of the day is, how big of an impact do you think Alexey Miranchuk will be able to have for the Five Stripes? Let us know in the comments below. Love to hear what you have to say, guys. So that's the episode, guys. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For Michael, I'm AJ. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.